This strike is really the latest episode in a series of strikes and back and forth strikes that show the heightened tensions between the U.S. and Iran. Last week, American forces bombed Iranian-backed militia positions in Iraq and Syria. That was in retaliation for the death of an American contractor who was killed in a rocket attack that was last week near the Iraqi city of Kirkuk. Pro-Iranian militia members then marching, of course, those images that we saw on France 24, marching on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad on a Tuesday, imprisoning U.S. diplomats, dozens of them, for more than 24 hours, burning the embassy's reception area before withdrawing late Wednesday afternoon from the area of the embassy. And these events and these attacks were mentioned in the statement by the Pentagon. The Pentagon saying that Soleimani had orchestrated those attacks on coalition bases in Iraq, including that attack that killed that U.S. contractor. And the statement also says that Soleimani approved the attacks on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad that took place this week. So this is really the Americans striking back at what they see as a multiplication of strikes from Iranian-backed militias, and really it is another episode and the latest heightened episode of this proxy war between the U.S. and Iran, because really those who they are targeting and those the Americans are targeting are the Iranians that they see as being behind all the problems in the region.
Well, earlier on, we saw the Defence Secretary, Mark Esper. He said that the game has changed hours before the latest airstrikes. The US also deploying hundreds of troops to the region just recently.
Yes, this has been going on actually for months now. There have been thousands of troops that have been deployed to the region since May. But as you said, there have been more troops being sent over in just the past couple of days. And Mark Esper's comments earlier today about saying that the U.S. was thinking of preemptive strikes against Iran if there were more attacks on U.S. interests, where they didn't wait until there were more attacks. They say that they had a proof that Soleimani and that the Iranians were planning more attacks on U.S. interests, on U.S. personnel. And this is really the Americans making a show of force, as they did when they deployed quickly those troops around the U.S. embassy. They're really trying to show the Iranians that they are there and they are there to stay, and that they will hit back on any given attack, or even any evidence that there are attacks being planned against the U.S. But this is really shows that the Americans, as well as the Iranians, actually are really intent on really building up those tensions, and this is really bringing a lot of concern around the world about the possible war and concerns of a larger conflict in the region between the U.S. and Iran, but all based in Iraq. And it has to be said that the Iraqi officials are being caught in between those two big powers, their powerful neighbor Iran and their powerful benefactor and ally, the United States.